Hello everyone, Alicia here with another Weight Watcher friendly recipe, and today what I'm going to be making is a crustless vanilla cheesecake. Now this is a 0-point cheesecake, and this is something that I've actually been wanting to try for a really long time because I absolutely love cheesecake, any type of cheesecake dessert, and 0 points, you can't really beat that. So I saw this recipe on the Weight Watcher app, and that is what I'm going to be using and trying out today. I've never made this before, so I'm excited to try it. And the recipe builder link that I'm going to be linking is for their recipe unchanged. Now typically I like to change the Weight Watcher recipes, kind of make them more my own, but this one I'm going to just make as is. So that is what I'm going to be linking, is the recipe unchanged. But let me jump into this, show you real quick what you're going to need to make it. First off, you're going to need 4 cups of fat-free cottage cheese. I've got 2 16-ounce containers here, which equal 4 cups. Next up, you're going to need a 1/2 cup non-fat plain Greek yogurt. For sweetener, I'm going to be using this Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. You're going to need 2/3 cup of that, but you could use whatever type of no calorie, no point sweetener that you want. You're going to need 3 large eggs, some cooking spray, 1.5 tablespoons of vanilla, and then finally some fresh raspberries to top this with. And that is everything that's in this, so let me get it started. I've got my oven preheating to 350. Now my food processor, I'm going to add in my cottage cheese. And I'm gonna blend that, it says for a couple minutes or until the cottage cheese is smooth. I've let this run about 1.5 minutes and it's looking pretty smooth, but I'm gonna go ahead and knock the little bit on the sides down and run it for another 30 seconds or so. Now I'm gonna add in my Greek yogurt. And I will say this is getting pretty full in here. And my Lakanto. And then vanilla. And then I'm gonna blend that all together. I'm gonna knock some of that down that's up in the edge here. And again, this is very, very full. So now finally I'm gonna pour my eggs in and hope that those actually fit. And blend this one final time until it's all combined. Okay, I've got that all combined and I'm sure you can tell just how full this is. I don't know what the size of my food processor is, but I will check that and I'll try to remember to add that in the description box so you know, but this is definitely very, very full, so I barely made it, but got that all combined together. So now I'm gonna go add this to my springform pan. I've got my springform pan here. Now this is a 9.5 inch. The recipe is telling you to use an 8 inch, but this is all I've got. So I'm gonna be using this. And what I've done is I've just lined it with some foil. Then I'm gonna spray it with my cooking spray. And now I'm gonna very carefully pour this into my pan. Now I'm gonna bake this at 350 for, it says, 1 hour and 5 minutes to 1 hour and 15 minutes, or until it is golden around the edges and still a bit wobbly in the center, which is what you're always looking for with a cheesecake, is a little bit of a wobble or jiggle in the center. Now this is a different size pan than what the recipe is calling for. So the baking time is probably gonna be a little bit different than that, but I'm gonna start checking it around 1 hour. And when it is done, I will be back. This has been baking for 1 hour and 15 minutes. And as you can see, it's browned nicely and it's got just a little bit of jiggle still going in the center. So I'm gonna call that done. And now I'm gonna go ahead and take this out and I'll show you a little closer up what I mean by that jiggle. So Hopefully it's picking up, but it's got just a little bit of a jiggle or a wobble, mainly in the center where it's kind of set on the edges. So I'm gonna call that done. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna just let this sit here for an hour or so, or until it cools and comes to room temperature. I've let this cool or come to room temperature. It's been probably an hour, hour and a half. I did want to point out though that there was quite a bit of leakage coming from this. There's some of it right there. Maybe you can see it on the stove there. The point of the foil is to keep that in. I obviously got a hole in my foil or something, and yeah, had a little bit of a mess. So I would suggest honestly putting this, if you have a dish you can put the springform in to kind of contain that mess, I would do that, or double up your foil, because inevitably when you use the foil it's going to get a tear in it, and then you're going to have a mess like I have. And it was actually worse than this. I cleaned some of it up already, but I did want to let you guys know that, because don't want that happening to you. So again, I would suggest honestly just putting the springform in a dish when you bake it to avoid that completely. I went ahead and removed that foil, and I set this on a plate, covered it, and now I'm gonna let it refrigerate for at least 3 hours so that it can get nice and cold and firm up. And after that point, I will be back and slice into this and give it a try and let you know what we think of it. I let this sit in the fridge for about 4 or 5 hours, a little longer than I had said. Just definitely ready to go. So now I'm gonna remove plastic wrap here and the outside of my form. And I'm gonna just run a knife around the edge so that this comes off a little cleaner. So here, that's what it looks like. I'll cut a piece out. Now they've got this divided up into 8 servings. So I'm going to cut roughly 1/8 of this. Okay, got a piece of this, 1/8 out, which is 0 points. Topped it with some of those fresh raspberries. Had my hubby try it first. See what he thinks.
The consistency is a little grainy, maybe.
Grainy, interesting, okay.
I mean, obviously it's all soft, but you can kind of see, I think, maybe what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It does taste like a cheesecake.
Okay, interesting. While you're saying,
Not the best cheesecake
can I take a bite while you're talking?
I've ever had.
Well, again, this is 0 points.
Yeah.
So we have to keep that in mind.
It's not bad.
You know what?
I mean, for 0 points.
That's not bad for 0 points.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. So the texture is a little, yeah, I don't know. It's not quite grainy, wouldn't be the term I would use, but almost kind of like cottage cheese, actually.
Yeah, but like with really, really tiny.
Really
curd.
fine.
Yeah.
So even though it got completely blended up, it still has a little bit of a not super smooth texture. How
Yeah.
about that?
It does taste like a cheesecake though, right? It has a cheesecake flavor.
It does indeed have a cheesecake flavor.
Yeah.
And for 0 points, you know, I think that's pretty good. Now that being said, this is the first 0 point cheesecake I've tried. I know there's other recipes out there and might give another one a try. If you guys have any suggestions of ones that you've either tried or have seen that look good, please let me know, because again, that's good, especially for 0 points.
Yeah.
And it kind of hits the spot when it comes to sweet tooth, I think, right?
Yeah, if you're wanting
And cheesecake a little bit.
cheesecake.
I'm kind of a cheesecake, I don't know. I'm a little picky when it comes to cheesecake just because it's probably one of my favorite. Well, it is my favorite dessert.
Cheesecake snob.
I'm a bit of a cheesecake snob. So I don't know if I'm the best judge of this. If you're not like super into cheesecake, well, that doesn't sound right. I don't know. I think it's good. Let's just leave it at that. If you're not snooty about your cheesecake, you probably really like this. And for 0 points, that's pretty hard to beat. So I would call that a win.
Yeah, it's a win.
Now,
I'm not sure I'd be asking for it.
No, honestly, I'd probably rather have the points. I've done a lot of different cheesecakes on my channel. Minis, cheesecake pies, all kinds of cheesecake stuff that all carry points. Some of them are higher than others and some of them are fairly low. I would rather have the points, I guess is what I'm saying, and have more of a traditional cheesecake flavor.
Yeah.
But this is good. If you're wanting something 0 points, I would definitely recommend this. But anyway, guys, that was 0 point Crustless Vanilla Cheesecake. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you as always for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.